artists, Miss Shelby here. Today I'm going to demo a little bit to you about value, okay? Value is essentially adding shading, adding different shades of dark, different shades of light, and different shades all in between to a piece of art to make it look realistic. The artistic term we're going to use is value. It is the process of shading. So a lot of times you'll hear people say, oh, your shading is really good. It's kind of the same thing as saying, oh, your value is really good, okay? So what we're gonna learn today is just some little techniques to make us a little bit better, okay? This is a skill that everybody can learn how to do. Even if you're not an artist or an artsy person, even if you've never drawn a day in your life, you can sit and practice, and if you practice really hard for 1 hour, at least 1 hour, you can learn just the basics of value, okay? A lot of times when I start, I like to use just a regular old pencil. If you have a great drawing pack of pencils, you can use those. I always have an eraser at hand, and I also will have a paper towel as a blending tool to smudge it and kind of make it look more flawless. You can use your fingers and rub it in, and you can also use a blending stick, okay? I don't have a blending stick with me right now, but you can use one if you have it. I want to caution you against using this little guy, mechanical pencils. The reason being, yes, they're great, they're easy, most of us have them, and listen, if this is all you have, that's okay. It really is, but I'd like you to just use a regular pencil. If you look at the tips of these two, and it's really hard for me to show you on video, okay? This one is a little bit more blunt, and I can easily shade using the side of the pencil, which is what you want to do. With this, it's a little bit harder, and it takes you a little bit longer. This tip is so tiny that when you're drawing on your paper or shading it in, it oftentimes leaves marks in your paper. It engraves in your paper. Now, what I did here is I kind of drew a squiggle, I erased it out, and then I tried shading over it. And if you look carefully, you can kind of see it. And if you don't believe me, then just practice in person. And this is what you don't want to happen. You don't want that under shading or that under engraving on top of your shading to show through, okay? But again, if this is all you have, if this is what you're comfortable with, you can use it. Who am I to tell an artist what they should or should not use? Of course, since I'm your teacher, I prefer to teach you like this because this is what I'm comfortable with. Okay, so to get started, if you're just learning the basics of value, just draw yourself a circle on a piece of paper. The circle doesn't have to be perfect, so I'm going to just draw a quick one. It's not the greatest. Draw another one. Draw it 1,000 times so you get it right. You see, I've got a lot of little doodles and things going on my paper. So this is what value is not. It is not, and I tried, but I didn't quite get it. It's not just drawing dark on one side and light on the other, okay? This is high contrast. That means there's a really dark, not really a good middle. It doesn't seem flawlessly or flow nicely, and a really bright light, and then all of a sudden you have this like random line right there. Doesn't look the greatest. I think I can do better. So let's see. What I'm trying to go for is something like this. Now, yes, this is a printed off picture, but I bet if I practice, I can make it look just like that. So I drew my sphere. The next thing I'm going to do is draw my light source. Okay, the light source will be a reminder that, oh yeah, my lightest part on my entire sphere is coming from the upper right-hand corner. Okay, so that means anything over here is going to be lighter, and this is going to be darker, okay? Another thing I like to do on my paper when I get started is I like to do a thing called toning. Toning is where you take your white background on your paper, and I'm going to do it right here just because I already did it down here, and I'm going to make it gray. This is a trick that I didn't learn until I was in college, and I had a college professor show me this. He said that when you're looking at the white of the paper, believe it or not, it does play tricks on your eyes when you're trying to shade. So it really helps tone everything down and make it a dull gray. So then you know where you can really lighten it up at and then really darken it up at, which I haven't done. So I'm gonna get started right down here. I drew my sphere, it's not perfect. It's okay, I'm practicing. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna make sure that I am holding my pencil how it feels good. Don't wanna hold it up here and I'm not pushing down. I'm just gonna lightly hold it back here. And I like to kind of get a nice soft edge on my pencil. So I'm gonna color a little bit over here to get that edge. Yep, I like it, I'm happy with it. I'm gonna go over here and I'm just gonna get started. Making it a little darker. I'm not really coloring like this. I'm kind of, if you can see, I'll go slow. I'm almost making like little circle shapes with my pencil. Now I'm gonna take what I just toned and make it all a little darker. And I'm gonna go back. Maybe I go a different direction. That's okay. And this sphere is kind of bugging me. I think it should go a little bit wider. You see how I'm not just going in and I'm not just gonna make it super dark, dark, dark and hope for the best. This is a process. This is a layering process. I'm adding layers of dark. So I started with my white piece of paper, I toned it, and now I'm toning it a little bit more. And you'll slowly start to see it'll start to look more realistic, more three-dimensional, okay? Value is how you can take a, oh, that's not bad, like a okay piece of art and make it wow. If you can learn how to add value on simple shapes like a sphere, a cube, and a cone, you can draw amazing portraits of people that look three-dimensional. I really urge you guys, if you have time, to look up on a computer hyper-realism, hyper-realistic portraits in pencil. I mean, people have done them in paint, people have done them in pen. There's some you can look up in pencil, and I promise you, you guys, these things will look like a photograph. These people have spent hours upon hours practicing their value. I'm gonna take a break because I'm gonna go over here. If the sun is here, boop, then there should be a shadow over here. And since this is a sphere, my shadow will probably be more of a sphere shape. And you know what I've been forgetting to do? Forgetting to blend. It's important to blend with your finger. I don't want to see that pencil line. And when you start to blend with your finger, it'll either start looking darker in some spots, and some spots it'll start looking lighter because you're pulling up that graphite. You're shoving it into the fibers of the paper. Okay? I'm going to work on my background a little bit. Now guys, I've only spent, let me look, I've been recording 8 minutes. I probably spent 4 minutes on this. Could I spend longer? Definitely. Am I going to? Probably. For the video, I'm going to spend a little bit longer, but I just want to remind you, number one, I'm your teacher, so I've been practicing this for a while, so I can do it kind of quick. Number two, even though I'm going quickly with trying to add my value, it can always be better. Oh, I got a problem on my eraser. Let's see if I can fix it. It can always be better. You'll know that in the art room, there's not a lot of things I really make you do perfect. Remember what I always say? You know, in math class, what's 2 plus 2? It's 4. And what's 2 plus 2 always going to be? No matter what you do, 2 plus 2 is always going to be 4. In art, though, there's really not an answer. You know, who says one piece of artwork is better than the other? Who says one artist is better than the other? It's kind of all about your opinion. However, there are these things called principles and elements that anybody can learn. It is a discipline, okay? It's just like learning how to play catch or kick a ball. Anybody can learn to do that in their own special way because everybody learns a little differently and uses maybe a little bit of a different technique. So this is a discipline that you can learn where the answer, it kind of has a correct answer, where you're getting closer, you're getting better, where this is clearly just wrong, okay? Now, most of the year, there'll be a few things that we really, really practice our skills on, okay? Like drawing, making things have the correct proportion. Value, making sure we're adding the right value to our objects. Making sure we're getting pretty accurate on that. Okay. Don't you think the shadow should be darker? And the horizon line that it's sitting on, because it's not just floating out into space. Now, do you see how I'm going in now? And I'm making it a little darker. Making it a little better. And that eraser was kind of bothering me, so I'm going to use the mechanical pencil eraser. Luckily, that's one thing it's good for. They've got great erasers. I'm going to go in here and erase out a little bit. Now I'm kind of confused because I've lost some of that line, so this is a good time where if I had somebody else, I could ask them, hey, what do you think I should do to make that look better? And I kind of know in my head right now what I want to do to make it look better. So I'm going to try this and make the background a little bit darker. Okay. And again, you can see my pencil lines. I'm going to go in and use this to blend in my pencil. Okay. I'm going to go in and blend. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to practice, okay? I don't think this is there yet, but it's definitely getting there. Uh-oh. Just added a line on it for some reason. It's definitely getting there. I'm getting a lot closer. Maybe I'm going to take some more out and smudge some more in. Take some out, add some in. Take some out, add some in. Maybe I need to add a little eraser right here. And if you're going and you're working on something and you're just like, you know what, I'm not happy with it, start over. Do it again. Do it 100 times till you get it right. Do it 100 times until you feel comfortable with it. Now, if you weren't for the glare, oh, see, you could see it a little bit better. I think that this one is a lot better than this one. This is where I started today. This is where I'm ending. I think I can make it even better, so I might do another one, okay? And real quick before I go, another way besides shading to show value, if you become an expert and you master this, you can do a thing called hatching. It's just adding lines, hatching and cross-hatching, adding lines. It just gives the paper a little bit more texture. It's just another way to do it. And then there's always my favorite, stippling. Stippling is really fun to do. It's like a marker or a bright colored pen. And stippling is a series of making little dots to add value. So the dots to make it darker will be more and closer together. The dots to make it lighter will be farther apart. And 6th graders, if you're a 6th grader, you do have a stippling project where you'll spend one whole week making thousands and thousands of dots. Okay? So once you try this, go ahead, challenge yourself. Try stippling, try hatching, try cross-hatching. Try it on another shape. Do it again. Keep practicing. And that is our value demo. Good luck, artists.